but it said that on my end.
All right, I'm gonna try to get everyone back up here. I'm not sure what happened. I don't see Mr. Jones, by the way.
Oh, no.
Um,
Because somebody said he requested. I thought he did.
yeah, I think he was here, but I don't see any requests. But yeah, man, I think everybody got the wrong message, Osa. I'm not trying to say that black people are more racist or that you know what I mean. Like I'm not trying to say any of that. I'm just saying that they're capable of being racist, and the reason why I'm saying that is because I feel like if we're gonna say that black people are incapable of being racist, I think that's dangerous because I think it's sort of like justifying it or letting black people be openly racist to white people, and that if we keep allowing that and we're open about that, I think it could cause like a civil war or just further the division in this country. So like, why would we do that? It's just negativity at the end of the day. And black people are the ones that say they can't be racist because it requires a system of power or whatever. And so that is the only reason why I'm talking about black people. Would you agree, Osa? Or
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think the problem with the conversation is that they're relegating the definition of racism to systemic racism only. So then they'll use that and say, well, African Americans have not used the system to systemically hold white people back in the United States, which is correct.
yeah,
However, that is only one facet of the definition of racism, right? Because also, racism is also an ideology and a belief which anybody can hold, number one. And to be a racist just simply means that you believe that your race is superior to another group. If you believe that your race is superior and you believe other groups are inferior, that ideology, that belief makes you a racist. It's very simple. But again, I think the problem is that people try to redefine terms. I think that's the issue here. That's why we can't come to a consensus because it's like, what do you, what metric are you using? You're just using kind of how you feel at the moment. You're not actually taking the textbook definition to really extrapolate what being a racist is or what racism is even. And I
right.
think that's the problem, really.
All right. Well, yeah, and I agree with Dark Truth earlier, who said that it's a very sensitive topic. I understand that, but I feel like it's also a topic that has to be had. I feel like it's important. But Mr. Jones, what's up, man?
What's up, buddy? I've had this conversation with Osa a million times, and I'm sure you've probably talked to 100 different people, right? And so when we're talking about racism, we cannot use textbook, right? We can't use textbook definitions of racism because a dictionary, right, does not define what a word actually means. It simply defines how we colloquially use a word, simply. So if I was talking about a cap, and colloquially that that means somebody's lying, right? Then that could be added to the dictionary as cap means lying. But that doesn't mean what that it necessarily that's what the word was created for or anything of that nature. It just means that that's how we are colloquially using that word now. That's it. So when we're talking about racism, we have to right dissect why race was created specifically. Why did we create race? It was created for a specific reason, a very specific reason, so that white people were held at the top tier of society, and so that black and indigenous people could be either enslaved or eradicated from their land and have their resources taken. That's why it was created. Racism, right, is the ideologies or the processes by which that race, right, stays in the manner that it is. So race, right, is this idea that white people are at the top of society, and racism is the system that keeps them there. At no point can black people, right, participate in that system because one, we didn't create it, and two, right, it pays us no social benefit. Like I can be as bigoted as I want to be to a white person, but we're gonna have to call it something else. We can't call it, right, racism. We're gonna have to call it something else. Like being mean, you know what I'm saying? Like being xenophobic, possibly, depending on if they're an immigrant to the country, so on and so forth. But you cannot call it racism because race was created for a specific reason to target specific groups of people.
So can I ask you a question here, Mr. Jones?
Thank you, Sarah, for the $1 cash app. Yes,
So
you can
my
ask me
question
any
to
questions
you,
you want.
yeah, sure. So my question to you here is that do you believe, as far as the definition of racism is concerned, do you relegate that to just systemic racism only?
What do you mean systemic racism only?
Yeah, systemic. Yeah, because you said that you believe that race is a system that was designed and created.
No,
Do you
race
think?
is a social hierarchy. Racism are the systems and practices by which that social hierarchy is held in place.
So they're not a belief or idea.
What's that?
I said racism. It's not a belief or an idea.
It can be beliefs, it can be ideas, it can be political systems, it can be educational systems, it could be healthcare systems, it could be anything that keeps that social hierarchy in place is racism. Anything that keeps it in place.
Because I'll say this, you can't, and I alluded to this earlier, you can't really build a system without first building the system on a set of principles, ideologies, ideas, or beliefs.
Sure.
You
And
would
that set
agree
of
with that.
principles, that set of principles is that Anglo-Saxon white people sat at the top of social hierarchy. That was the ideal.
Yeah.
And then
So
now I have to go about, now that I've created this, you know what I'm saying, social hierarchy, now I have to go about and implement every type of system I possibly can and create other ideologies that quite literally hold this in place. I have to do what, by any means necessary, I'm going to do whatever it takes to hold this social hierarchy in place. And that's why we see, you know what I'm saying, society in the United States currently devolving into what, you know, people are saying, oh, we're so separated, so on and so forth, because they're quite literally doing everything they can to protect this idea of what was whiteness. That's why they keep saying, make America great again. Oh, we need to take things back to how they used to be. Like, and that used to be was white, cisgender, heterosexual men sat at the top of society. And now that's devolving.
I don't think that's what Donald Trump. I don't think Donald Trump is trying to bring back segregation by saying "Make America Great Again." And also the example that you gave.
I would argue
Cap,
that that's
right?
not true. Yep.
All right. So the example you gave about cap, you know how it has like it's like a slang word, right? It has like a different definition. But the thing about racism is that the original definition, and I say original because it was recently changed by a very young black woman, I should add. The original definition has systemic racism in the definition. So nobody's denying what you're saying, Mr. Jones. We're just saying that it could be done on an individual level as well. And just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean that black people cannot be systemically racist also. It's more about capability and not what has happened historically. Does that make sense?
I'm gonna ask you again the right way. Why was race created specifically?
I agree with what you said earlier.
The categorization of race was created by Anglo-Saxon white people specifically to put themselves at the top of the social hierarchy.
But you said that they cannot participate because they did not create like the concept of race. No, that's not true. If you call yourself black, you're participating already.
So when you're telling about the definition change, we're just going to go back to what I originally stated. It simply means, right, that's the colloquial understanding of the word now, that we have evolved as human beings and now we colloquially understand it different. Are you under the impression that dictionaries never change?
No, I'm
you know
just
how many
saying,
words
like,
are added to the
I would
dictionary
say
every
the
year?
dictionaries. Yeah, I would say you're right in the sense that as far as as the lexicon evolves, the definitions do change. However, in regards to this definition, the definition has not changed. Like you are right in a sense that racism is systemic.
Who maintains the dictionaries?
Hold on, just let me let my question.
Oh, so no, this is important. Who maintains the dictionaries?
Well, you have Cambridge. You have Merriam-Webster. You have
And who
Oxford.
and like literally who sits, you know what I'm saying, on the panels that decides whether or not these words are changed or not?
Well, we can go and change them arbitrarily. You said it yourself just now. You said that cap also means. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, so essentially, the people, you know what I'm saying, like if we looked at who ran Cambridge, who ran, Webster's, who ran Oxford, and so it's all white men. How would it benefit them, you know what I'm saying, to change the definition of a word in any sense? Like how would it benefit them?
But see, we have the power to do that. In fact, as
We
far as
don't,
what
as
the
a
host
matter of
alluded, well, no, no. In fact, the host just alluded to it. You have a black woman who introduced a new definition of the word
Can you
racism.
provide proof of that? Can you provide?
Oh yeah,
Yes,
the host can do that. Yeah.
Sure.
So,
Tell me
her name is Kennedy Mitchell, and I think
Okay,
she was as
Kennedy
young
Mitchell.
as like, I could be wrong, but I think she was like 21 years old, which is wild.
Okay, I'm looking it up.
Yeah, but she like that girl sent an email to Merriam-Webster, and she said that she didn't like the current definition, which is the one that I'm going by, and and it said systemic racism in the current definition, but she wanted that specifically to only say systemic racism.
Yeah,
Which
and
is
see
what I
that's
don't
the
get.
problem.
Oh, Kennedy
That's the
Mitchell.
problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she in 2020. Hold on, Fred. Like you're just let's bring it down a little bit. We're having a conversation. So she sent a letter to the editor at large at Merriam-Webster asking them to change the definition of racism.
Yeah, I think it was in 2020. I could be wrong, or 20. I think it was 2020. I'm not
Okay.
sure.
And so Sokolowski, who's the editor at large at Merriam-Webster, said dictionary definitions have traditionally been short because they had to fit so many words into their print editions. There's no longer the case since so many people use the dictionary online. He said they updated the dictionary 2 or 3 times a year to keep it as updated as possible. He said the new language will probably be ready for the next update. So they agreed to update the language because it
There we
didn't
go.
explain.
There it is.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so but my proof is that it's kind of because you said that it wouldn't benefit the so-called white tea people who control these dictionaries.
do you know
to change
what
the
was going
definition.
on in
But you have an
2020?
example of a black
Elsa?
woman who hold
Elsa?
on a second.
What was
hold on
going
a
on in
second.
2020?
Huh?
What was going on in 2020, Elsa?
Black Lives Matter stuff.
Okay, exactly. So there was incentive. There
Okay.
currently was incentive for them to make updates to the dictionary.
Yeah, but
But
you
it
said
still doesn't mean that that is an objective definition. Still doesn't mean
see-
it's an objective definition.
okay. So racism is only systemic now. It's not interpersonal. Only one group can experience.
At what point
it,
did
not
I
the
say
other.
that? At what point did I say that?
No, I'm asking you.
So can I be interpersonally racist to a white person? Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah, could you do that?
No, no.
Really?
Because the social hierarchy of race
Really?
sets white people at the top. So no matter what I said, it doesn't change the social hierarchy.
So
Because
let
the
me
rest
ask
of
you.
society.
Okay.
Oh, so let me finish.
No, I got
So
you.
no matter what
Yeah.
I say or do to said white person, the rest of society and essentially the rest of the globe is going to continue to see them at the top of said social hierarchy. No matter what I say, no matter what I do.
So can I ask you a question? So what about the black Hebrew Israelites as a part of ISUBK who believe the white people are the seed of Edom, therefore they are the devil, and that they are lesser than, and those black people, so that they are the so-called chosen people, are superior to them? Are they not racist to you?
No, they're not racist. They're ignorant. Are they
Really?
ignorant? Absolutely. Are they bigoted? Absolutely. But not
No.
racist? No.
I-
Because racist, for them to be racist, there would have to be a series, right, of implemented social systems that uphold that idea that black people are in fact at the top of the social hierarchy. And
See,
that doesn't exist.
and
And
I-
that doesn't
okay.
exist. You're
Okay.
talking about a small group of individuals. So is it bigoted? Is it ignorant? Absolutely. But is it racist? Absolutely not.
And I think that's where we respect. I think that's where respectfully we're at an impasse because you're limiting the
It's because you
definition
don't
only
understand
to
sociology.
systemic. Didn't you just
Because you
tell
don't
me not to
understand
interrupt you?
sociology.
You just told me not to interrupt you, right?
Sure, go
so
ahead.
okay, so I think that's where we're at an impasse because you're limiting and relegating the definition only to systemic only, and you're negating interpersonal, number one, and number two, you're negating ideologies and beliefs, which anybody could hold. Now, if you're talking about systemic racism and the fact that black people have not systemically held white people back in this country, you would be absolutely correct. I wouldn't push back on you on that. I wouldn't disagree on you on that. But as far as having the belief that one race is superior to the other, and one race could say, for example, that I believe X race is superior or inferior because of X, Y, Z, anybody can have that belief or ideology. Anybody can.
So my next question to you was going to be, does historical context matter, right? And do you have an understanding of sociology? Because it's clear that you don't. Historical context will tell you why said system was created in the first place. And in order for somebody to benefit from that system that was created, right, the sociological system that was created, they have to be at the top, right, of said sociological system. They would have to be up there. And so because black people are not, they do not sit, right, at the top of said sociological system that was created, right, for the benefit of one people, then they cannot benefit from that system. You would have to call it something else. You would
Okay,
have to call it something else.
So if it's because you believe that it's just prejudice, the white people
No,
can
no,
experience.
no, absolutely no. No, it's not prejudice.
So what would you call it then?
Huh? I
What
just
do you
told you, it
call
could be ignorant, could be mean, could be bigoted.
Ignorant and
Sure,
mean and
but you're
bigoted?
going to have to come up. You're going to have to come up with something else other than the racism, because the classification of race was created specifically to place white people at the top of a social hierarchy, a social structure.
But I think the issue here is you're conflating two different issues. You're
I'm not.
conflating the creation. Hold on. You're creating or you're conflating the issue of race as a social construct to say, okay, well, it was only designed for white people, and so therefore white people don't have or cannot be or
A victim of it. No, they can't. They can't be a victim of it.
okay.
No,
So
they
so
can't.
so the Facebook torture incident in 2017 where a white person was attacked by a group of African Americans, and this attack was streamed online, right? And they were calling him every other racial epithet under the sun. He couldn't experience racism, right?
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking
It's
about.
just being
but
a
no.
meanie.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
So he was just those black kids. They're torturing that poor white teen. They're just being mean, right?
No. I didn't say that.
So
didn't
well,
say
you
that.
said that they can't experience racism. What would you?
It's not
call it?
racism. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's still not racism.
What is it then? What would you call it?
Like I said, hate, bigotry,
Hate
absolutely.
based
but
on
it's not racism.
okay. Hate based on what?
That's not the definition of racism.
Hate based on what? I'm saying
It could
if
be-
you're
it could be a
hating an
variety of
individual,
things.
because there's all sorts of prejudices. Okay, you
Mm-hmm.
know you have racism, you have sexism, you have every other type of ism.
Yep.
So
What is
if the
okay?
hatred-
I'm gonna ask you. Here's the
Go
question.
ahead.
What is it when men, you know what I'm saying, have an aversion or hatred of women? What is it called?
I would say
Yeah.
misogyny,
Okay. And what if
misogyny.
the roles are reversed? Women to men.
misandry.
Oh, so there's two different words for it.
Absolutely,
But is
it's
it the same thing?
But it's the same thing.
Oh, but it is the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same
Oh,
thing.
that's crazy.
Yeah,
Thank you, Adrian, for
you're
this
hating.
$20 Cash App. I appreciate it.
It's a prejudice and a hate based on gender in this case.
Got you. But there's two different words for it, though. Yes.
Absolutely, there
Okay.
is.
So
But-
then it would make sense, right? So if it would make sense. There would be two different words for racism, right?
Not really.
And then this other violence.
Not really, because the hatred is based on the same thing and the same concept. The only difference is it's just the genders are reversed. That's all that is. It's still sexism.
Okay. And the only
whether
thing
it's
would
man
be
to
the
women,
races would be reversed.
whether it's man to woman, whether it's
And the
man to
only
woman
thing
or
was
women.
the races would be reversed.
Yeah,
That'd be
but
the only
see,
difference.
but it's still racism, though.
But it's not, because
No,
race
it's
was
still is.
created to put white people at the top of a social hierarchical structure.
Yeah, but are they really at the top of the social hierarchy in America right now today? Can you honestly
Absolutely.
say that?
Yes,
Really?
absolutely. Yeah,
Really?
the how many black senators do we have? Very few. How many black House of Representative members do we have? Very few. How many black judges do we have? Very few. 75+% of our police departments are made of white people.
Well, I would
Most of our
disagree with
teachers-
that.
Most of our teachers are white in the United States. The vast
sure?
majority of CEOs in America are white. Like, I mean, I could
Are you
keep
sure?
going. So,
Well,
yes,
as far as the Supreme Court justices were
why do you
overrepresented.
want white people to be oppressed so bad?
But hold on, you got to let me finish. I'll let you finish, right? I didn't interrupt you, so let me finish.
Sure,
Give me
go
the
ahead.
same courtesy. So you're talking about the criminal justice system or the Supreme Court justices. 2 of the 9, right, are African American. That's 22%. We're overrepresented there.
Diversity hires.
Well, I mean, they're very well qualified. Taji Brown Jackson and Clarence Thomas. They're very well
No,
qualified.
Clarence
to be in
Thomas
that
is
position,
not as
and they're
nearly as
there.
qualified as Ketanji.
Okay, well, that's
And he shouldn't
fine.
be a Supreme Court justice.
Okay, well, that's fine. You can have that opinion.
But he was in
As far as-
fact, Clarence Thomas was in fact a diversity hire.
well,
Like
you could
literally
say,
a diversity hire.
I mean, you could say that, but I mean,
No, we're not
as
saying
far
that.
as-
It was said to. He was said to have been.
Okay, no, I mean that's fine. But as far as black mayors, what you have a black mayor here in Dallas, which I live in, right? You have black mayors here, and in every
Never
major
mentioned
city,
mayors.
in Chicago, and in New York, and San Francisco. So what are you talking
from
about?
Texas
You have
also?
CEOs. Yeah, I'm from Texas. Yeah, I live in Dallas, Texas. The mayor here is black here. You know, you have black
Yeah,
mayors, you have black city councils, and you have African Americans who are in predominant positions of power. I would agree with you in the sense that, yes, if you're talking about systemic racism, there was a point when black people were denied opportunity. I wouldn't even disagree with you on that. And then furthermore, I would say that racism is not something that's disappeared. It's not gone. But as far as in terms of opportunity, we have a plethora of opportunities to be able to choose from. Black people can run for political office. We could be judges, accountants, doctors, lawyers. We have that opportunity today. Are things perfect? Mr. Jones, fuck no. Things are not perfect. Do things have to be addressed systemically? I would actually say yes. But I think the key is to try to find common ground so we can bring both sides together to be able to address these issues. And that's what I'm all about, right? I'm all about trying to bring a peaceful solution because I've been on this app for 2 years, almost 3 years. And quite frankly, a lot of the conversations have been unproductive. There's been a lot of dog piling, a whole bunch of echo chambers, and a whole bunch of yelling back and forth to the point where we can't even come up with a solution. If you want to talk about the prison industrial complex and the flaws therein, hey, you would be right. I'm all for fixing that. If you talk about fixing healthcare, okay, I'm all in. Let's fix it. Let's fix the healthcare system. If you're talking about trying to help the poor and get people placed and providing better education for American citizens, sure, I'm all in. If you're talking about righting the wrongs of the past, also, I'm all in. But let's try to find common ground so we can work together to fix the problems. That's what I'm about. I'm about peace. That's it.
Okay. Do you know how many mayors are in the United States?
Quite a few. I don't know off the top of my head. Quite a few.
Okay. And out of those quite a few, what percentage of them do you think are black?
I don't know.
Okay.
Tell me.
So here we can go to hold on one second. Shit, I just went out of it by accident.
No
Yeah,
problem.
keep in mind though the population difference.
What does that mean?
Like I meant to say like black people are what?
Oh,
13,
make up less
14?
percentage of the population?
Yeah,
They're
that's
around
what I meant to say.
12, 13%, right?
Yeah. So, no, little under, like 13.8, something like
About
that.
30.8. Okay. So yeah, that's why
Yeah.
in certain areas you're probably not going to have, you're going to more so have white
It's not
people
gonna
in
be
those
50-50.
positions. Yeah,
Yeah, no,
you're going to have more so
it
white
wouldn't
people
be.
just by default because they're
Yeah, but
majority.
we don't make up, you know what I'm saying, an equitable percentage of how many black people are in almost any, position of power, especially like CEOs of Fortune 500 companies and things of that nature. So 3.8% of mayors in the United States, 3.8% are black.
Okay, where would your source for that be? I don't deny that. What would your
Yeah, so this is Zippia. Let me see where you can, if you go to, so if you just Google demographics, number of mayors in the U.S. demographics, the first thing that pops up is Zippia, and then it gives you the demographics of all mayors in the United States.
I would say, okay, let me say I concede there.
So it's 3.8%.
Okay.
Is that representative of the amount of black people that are in the
I would
United
say it's
States?
small. I would say definitely it's small. But
Right.
let's focus on that. So
Yep.
so let's focus on the mayors. So just because there's a disparity, it doesn't always necessarily mean that there's a systemic racism in place. It could be the fact that maybe maybe not as many mayors are running. I know here in Dallas, where you have a major city and the majority of the population here is white, you have a black mayor and a majority black city council here. So, like I said again, just because you have a disparity,
So
it
what
doesn't
what you're
necessarily
saying
equate
is,
to
hold
race.
on, really quickly,
That's
just
what
so
I'm
I'm clarifying, right? Just so I'm clarifying. So you're saying in a predominantly white city, there's a very slim chance that they're going to elect a black mayor. Is that what you're telling me?
No. I'm saying in this case, it was the opposite. In this case, here in Dallas, Texas, where I live in, the majority of the population is white, but you have a black mayor here and a majority black city hall here.
Okay,
It's
sure.
just-
What
it's
is
full
the
of minorities
population?
here.
What are the demographics in Dallas in terms of black?
Demographic is around, off the top of my head, like 62% white, maybe, or no. I'll say about
Let's
maybe
see.
57% white, maybe 35%, 37% Hispanic, maybe 12, 13, 14% black, something like that.
Okay, I'll just look it up.
Yeah, look it up.
That's fine.
I could be off a little bit, maybe. But the majority is not black here, though.
So white people would make up 48% of the population. Black alone make up 23% of the population. Two or more races make up 13. Hispanic or Latino make up 42%.
Yeah. So the
White
majority is
alone.
white then.
So
Yeah.
no, it's not actually, because white alone, not Hispanic or Latino, only make up 28% of the population. So they are not the majority. They only make up 28% of the population. Just white people alone, like not of Latin descent.
But the majority is not black though.
But the majority are BIPOC people. They are, you know what I'm saying, people of marginalized backgrounds.
So hold on. The majority in Dallas is how much? You said white? How much?
That are white alone, 28%, not of Hispanic or Latino background. 28%.
But hold on. I thought you said wait a minute.
Look here, see, I'll show you.
Didn't you say no, I don't believe
gonna show you
I'm
right
saying
now.
I believe you. No, I believe what you're saying. But I
was gonna say, I put it on the screen, bro.
No. I'm not saying I don't believe you.
The total amount of white people is 48%. But
Okay.
white alone, not Hispanic or Latino, right? So not from a marginalized community, is 28%.
But how can they be? I thought you said that Latino wasn't a race though, right?
It's not, but you know what I'm saying? Like they're breaking it down to people who aren't of Latin descent. So you can be Afro-Latin or you can be Caucasian Latin. So you know what I'm saying? Or like white Latino. So what they're doing is, this is how many white people are here, but these are how many people, right, that are white but not of Latin descent.
I don't know.
Intersectionality kind of matters, Osa. This is what I'm trying to talk about.
but
Like,
Jones,
you don't
like-
understand. Hold on 1 second. Let me just address this, and I'll answer whatever you have. You guys fail to understand society through a sociological lens. And what I mean by that is, how did we arrive at these, you know what I'm saying, conclusions? How did we get here? Historical context does matter. If we don't address the historical context of these things, we're never going to solve the issues. You have to know where we started to know how to, you know what I'm saying, like where we're going. And this is what I keep trying to explain to Osa specifically over and over again. He's like, nah, throw out all the history. I don't give a shit about how we got here. Let's just ignore it moving forward, and hopefully it'll go away. That's
not my position.
So, Jones,
that's the way to hold on.
wait,
No. Now he's lying now. That's not my position.
sure.
I just said earlier, hey, let's try to bring both sides together so that we can find common ground and speak on the issues. I never mentioned anything, not one time.
Sure. Okay. Shouldn't we address the underlying issues so that we can find common ground? Like, we have to take care of this.
Jones.
Let me ask you a question. Hold on. Let me. I'm gonna ask both of y'all a question.
Sure.
Have you ever been in a relationship with somebody?
Sure.
You ever been in a relationship?
Sure.
Like a significant other? Host?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you have a problem in your relationship, can you solve it by just ignoring it and not talking about it? Like, if you cheated or they cheated, right, and you never discussed either of, you know what I'm saying, you like never unpacked it, how y'all felt about the person cheating, none of that stuff, do you think that you're going to be able to fix the relationship?
No.
Okay.
But
What if
Jones,
your significant other, hold on, what if your significant other said, hey, listen, I really feel like, you know, we should talk about this cheating, and you told them, oh, why you want to live in the past? Do you think that that's going to be the path to a healthy relationship?
I think that's the downfall of many of them. Even though you have a past issue that's already been addressed, right?
No,
And you
I said it's not been addressed.
And you
Yeah,
continuously.
Jones.
Are you kidding me?
Wait,
Are
hold
you
on,
kidding
real
me?
quick. So Jones, so like if let's say your wife cheats on you, but you decide to forgive her, right? Bringing up the past is not going to help. But
That
also,
hasn't happened, though. Black people haven't decided to forgive the hundreds of years
Jones,
of atrocity.
But let me just say something real quick, right? Like, when you brought up the mayor stuff, right? It's not 100% because white people are holding them back. There's other factors. You're talking about underlying issues, right?
Yeah, like money.
Have you looked at like some of the literacy rates? Are black people trying to become mayors? Do you know that for sure? Like, there's other factors, man.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
mean, just because you have a disparity
Hold
doesn't
on,
always
Osa.
equate
He
to-
asked me a question. Let me answer his question. So again, you're looking at the end result. You're simply looking at the end result. You're not looking at this, you know what I'm saying, from a sociological standpoint. Why are the literacy rates low? Why haven't they made it? So how are our schools funded? Our schools are funded, right, by the property tax on houses. So if the houses, right, are in disrepair and in that area from years of redlining, if the property taxes in that area are very low, then that means that the schools are going to have very little funding, right? And so that's going to attribute to, literacy rates, whether they graduate from high school at all, their access to educational resources, so on and so forth. So if these people come out of school, already grades and grades behind, then there's going to obviously be lack of desire to run for a high office, because I know for a fact I don't have the education that's going to meet those. How did we get here?
But hold on a second. Here's the thing. Here's the issue. Just because you have a disparity here, it doesn't always equate to systemic racism. And I think that's the problem. The problem is that every single disparity that we can point to is not always a matter of systemic racism. These are things that have to be really examined carefully and looked at.
Sure. Give me the other reasons.
Huh?
Give me the other
I
reasons.
have no idea. I don't know. I can't. But you can't.
So you can't.
No,
So hold on. So we can show evidence for racism, but you have no evidence for these other things.
No. Wait a minute. No. You can't.
So give me the other evidence.
That's a theory.
Okay, give me the other evidence.
That's what CRT is. CRT basically tries.
What is CRT?
It's critical race theory. It's based on legal studies.
What does critical race theory do?
Yeah, it's based on legal studies by Derek Bell, Harvard professor. Basically, he wanted to come up with something with an ideology. CRT. Well, you have other people who contributed to it as well, but the whole
just the name alone.
Yeah, he wasn't.
But
he didn't even.
Hey, hold on. You gonna let me talk now, right? I'll let you talk. So here's the thing, though. This whole idea of CRT was designed to basically understand and look at certain disparities, right, within the system in between races, and see how basically racism and law intersect. That's basically the crux of it. But see, like I said to my earlier point, just because you have a disparity, it doesn't always mean that it's race related. Because if you could say that, okay, well, this country is designed by and for white people, and they're the majority, and that therefore they benefit, then you have to explain a couple of factors. You have to explain why most of them don't even have $500 in their bank account statistically. You have to explain why most of them are on some type of welfare. You would also have to explain they're not even in the top income bracket. You have Asians and East Indians that make more than them. So that's where sort of this whole CRT idea starts to fall off, right? Because you can't say that, okay, this country is designed and benefits white people, while at the same time you have other groups that not only have and produce more income than them, but also has more education than them, just like Asians and East Indians. You have to explain and account for that.
Yep, we can. It's easy to explain and account for that.
Listen,
It's easy to. I've done it. So you act like this is the first time that we've had this conversation. So I'm going to explain and account for those and just here in just a moment. But first of all, you guys said a theory, as if a theory, you know what I'm saying, like holds no weight. Like gravity is essentially a theory. Do y'all not believe in gravity?
Go ahead, I'm listening.
Do you believe in gravity? Yes or no? We make sure where we're at.
Sure.
But Mr. Jones, so just the name itself, right? To critically judge somebody because of their race is wild. Do you believe in some of the things that MLK pushed?
Yeah. So that's not what critical race theory means at all. It doesn't mean to critically judge somebody.
But what does MLK? Well, what did MLK say? He said to judge people. Wait, hold on. He said to judge people.
That has nothing to do with CRT. That has nothing to do with CRT.
No, I know. I'm just saying that people like MLK said that they should judge people based on the content of the character, not the color of their skin.
And then before he died, he said, "I feel like I've led my people into a burning building because white America, was never going to change." MLK literally changed all that rhetoric before he died. So stop using one thing that he said one time and look at the complexity of his work.
And did we not change at all?
No,
did we progress at all?
That's why we're still having the same conversations right now that we were having in the 1960s and 70s. So this is how a scientific theory works, right? A scientific theory is an explanation of an aspect of the natural world, right? And or universe that can be repeatedly tested and corroborated in accordance with the scientific method. So if you don't think that this theory is correct, then this would make science so great, right? Then you quite literally can test it yourself. And so we've come to these conclusions. They've been tested by other people in academia, peer reviewed, right? Other people in academia to see if these things are real or not, right? And so when we're looking at critical race theory analyzes how the system of race and racism affect education, healthcare, and our legal system. Now, it doesn't say that we need to analyze white people. It says that we need to analyze what is whiteness and how it affects society. not white people. It doesn't say that we need to critically analyze white people. Not once
What is
does it tell you
whiteness? So what is whiteness
So can I
to
ask?
you?
So
this
can I?
ideology.
Okay.
Osa, please, he's asking me questions. This idea that white is at the top of the social hierarchical structure. This idea of whiteness. Now we
That's
understand that
literally
it's
white
socially
people.
constructed. No, it's not.
So what is it?
Because
White
white
animals?
people. No, so white people.
It's white people.
Let see, and again, this is what you don't understand. White people originally only referred to Anglo-Saxons, and then they added Irish people, then they added Italian people, then they added Germans, then they added Polish, then they added people of Latin descent. You know what I'm saying? So like all of these things, whiteness is an ever-changing, right, operation in order to satisfy this social hierarchical structure.
All right. Osa, did you want to ask him something?
Yeah. So okay. If what you say is true, then why do we continuously adhere to race if you can admit and acknowledge it's a social construct in the first place? Why do we continue to adhere to it then?
Because we are not in control. We did not create it. We certainly can't dismantle it.
Why can't we dismantle it?
Because it doesn't matter if we
so?
don't participate in it when we don't have the social power.
I would disagree. I think we do have the power.
Well, I mean, and you would be wrong. Give me some examples of how we hold a social hierarchy over white people in America. Give me some examples.
Listen. If the people
Give me some
change the
examples.
system overnight. No, I'm telling you right now, because there's more of the population of us than there is of them, right? So
Yeah, globally.
Americans banded together.
But we don't have access
So,
to any of the resources, though.
Hold on. If Americans wanted to say, you know what, we want change to happen, so you know what we're going to do? We're not going to go to work, and we're going to sit down at home and not go to work at all until demands are met. There will be change overnight. So how do the people not have the power then?
Another one.
Why? Why wouldn't there?
You think that we've never, you know what I'm saying, done a strike before? They would just replace our jobs with other people. Like that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah,
Like-
see, look. So look, I can acknowledge there are issues in this country. Okay, you would.
But what you're saying is
and-
not correct, friend. I want to know how we
hold on a
have a
second.
system, how we have an advantage. You know what I'm saying, within the confines of the United States.
We don't. So okay, so you mean to tell me that the elites they outnumber us? Is that what you're telling me?
It doesn't even matter. Yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, the elites outnumber everybody. I mean, not outnumber. They have better access to resources than all of
No,
us.
but I'm saying they're the top 1%, though.
Yeah,
They're
they
the
don't
top 1%
outnumber
that
us.
control-
They
don't.
control. They're more control.
Yeah, but I'm saying if people wanted to change the system, like, because I held a live just the other day.
So I
One
think
of the
you're missing an
problems-
important aspect. Hold on,
No,
because you're not
you
listening
can't
to me.
interrupt. Hold on,
Also,
hold
you're
on,
not,
no, no,
but you're
no.
not hearing what I'm
Hold on,
saying.
Hold on.
Okay.
Let me talk. I'll let you talk.
Sure.
So the thing is that I believe strongly, right, that there's things wrong with the system, and it can be changed overnight if people band together and say, you know what, we're mad as hell, we're not going to take it anymore. I actually talked about this on another live because I've been on this app for 3 years, and every single time people complain, people have these echo chambers as to what the problems are, but when you actually come up with to come up with tangible solutions, no one ever does that, and that's very problematic. Okay, if you want to change stuff, you think it's wrong, okay, let's change it right now then. You're saying it's impossible to do it. You're saying it's impossible to make things better just because.
Never said that.
And that's the problem right there.
I never said that.
You
Never once
implied
said
it.
that.
What are you saying then?
Yeah. So what you said could change it would not change it. They would just cut off access to resources for Black people. And if they cut up access to resources, you know what I'm saying, then the fight would last like that long, right? And so what we have to do, right, is educate young children and make sure that we have equitable access to education, equitable access to housing, equitable access to food, you know what I'm saying, for all of our young children. And then, right, because we have equitable access to all of those things, because everybody has a level playing field, right? Now, you make sure that all of them are involved in culturally responsive pedagogy or culturally responsive teaching methods, right? And so if we were like being culturally responsive, hey, listen, I know that this classroom is made up of, you know, people from Africa and then people that are Black, you know what I'm saying, born here, people that are Latin, of Mexican descent or Nicaraguan descent, or, you know what I'm saying, Colombian descent, or whatever. And then we have Italian people in this room, and German people in this room, and people from Switzerland in this room. And then we have kids from China and Korea and Japan and India and so on and so forth. And then you show them how each one of their different cultures, right, is acceptable and is part of the fabric of this country. And then you have representation of the children that are in your school and the school staff, you know what I'm saying? Whether it be teachers, principals, counselors, so on and so forth. And if you start with the children, then you don't have bigoted adults. Why, if I go to school, if my children go to school with a bunch of kids that speak Spanish, why shouldn't my children at least learn how to say hi, goodbye, thank you, you know what I'm saying, you're welcome, so on and so forth? Have general conversation with them. Why shouldn't they?
See, okay, so you're talking about education, okay?
Yes,
I think
starts with education.
important.
That's how we
Yeah,
fix it.
so I think right. So I think that's important. But this is what I realized with the conversation. As far as stopping someone from being racist, you can never fully eliminate it and stop an individual by being racist. A
Wrong.
person or an individual with a racist mindset is always going to have that. Now, I would
No,
say what you can do is I don't think
that's not true at
education
all.
is a bad thing. I don't think education is a bad thing. I think there are things that you can do to eliminate or I'll say minimize or reduce the risk. But as far as eliminating out all full stop completely, I don't think we can do that. I think that's impossible. You can't do it. Could we try to make societies better? We could do that. Sure, we could educate, but we've been doing that. People know, for the large part, that it's wrong to be racist. In fact, not only have we had laws, right, the Civil Rights Act of 1968, it's not legally acceptable to be racist. Not to say that it doesn't happen. It's not legally acceptable, and also it's not socially acceptable. I dare somebody to say the N word or say something that's inflammatory. They will have their life ruined. They'll be doxxed, they'll be fired, and they'll never
That's not
see their
true.
life
That
ever
girl just
again.
did it on
Really?
TikTok the other day and got a job the next day.
Which lady?
The,
You
the,
talking about the
the
lady on
white girl,
Twitter?
Lily or whatever. She just did it the other day, got a job like the next day.
But what I'm saying is, socially, it's not acceptable. I
It
think
is clearly it is acceptable.
Really?
She literally said the N word. She got fired from whatever job she had, and then got a job offer. You know what I'm saying, from a news outlet. You know what I'm saying, the very next day.
Okay.
Nah,
So what about
come
the
on, Jones.
comedians?
I think we all know that it's not socially acceptable.
How is it?
Like right now, we are very, whether you want to admit it or not, we are very progressive as a country. And you mentioned earlier about diversity hires and stuff, and that's what they're doing everywhere. Whether it's Hollywood, whether it's politics, they're doing that. And so yeah, it's not socially acceptable at all.
We've rolled back.
Open
We've
racist.
rolled back all of that. Like in Florida, they're ending any type of diversity hire programs or DEI training, right? And at our federal level, you know what I'm saying, through the Supreme Court, they got rid of affirmative action, which predominantly helped white people. You know what I'm saying? So these things are being rolled back across the nation. Texas,
technically,
Virginia, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama. So like these things are quite literally being rolled back all across our country.
I think we still have the CRA of 1968. It's still illegal to discriminate based on race when it comes to hiring. So I don't think, honestly, I don't see. Maybe you have a difference of opinion. I don't see diversity in the workforce being rolled back on a mass scale. I
But it
don't see it.
is.
You
But
think
it
so?
is. Black men, or black people in general are 7 times less likely to get a call back if their name sounds too ethnic. And this has been studied by Harvard, Columbia, the University of Michigan. Like they're less likely to get a call back if their name sounds too ethnic. Like I have locks, you know what I'm saying? Like I have 13, 14-inch locks. There's a good chance that, you know what I'm saying, if I walked into, no matter how I've dressed, if I walked into a job interview, luckily I don't need one, there's a good chance that they're not going to hire me, or they're going to expect me to shave my face or cut my hair off because for the natural hair that grows out of my head. But white people simply don't have to abide by those same laws or those
So
same
the Crown
rules.
Act. So the Crown Act doesn't address that issue where you're
The
at.
Crown Act was not passed.
Wait, Mr. Jones. So in
Are you
Texas,
sure?
I could be wrong, but Jones, in Texas, it's a red state, as you may know, and I think they did pass the Crown Act.
Yeah, so maybe in a couple of states, but that's what I'm saying. It's not federal. It's not a federal mandate of any kind. Is what my point is.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a republic, like a very, very, I wouldn't say far right, but Texas is very red, right? And even they have those kind of laws.
Only 25 states recognize any aspects of the Crown Act. So, I mean, that's another 50. There's another 25 states that don't recognize it. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's children this year who weren't allowed to walk across the stage in their own graduation because they refused to get their locks cut off. So, I mean, these things still exist. Like, black women are still dying at a rate of 3.25 times more likely during childbirth than white women. Black babies are 3.75 times more likely to die in childbirth than white babies. Like, these things have reasons behind them. And if you can't tell me what they are, then we have to point at the data that we have available. Black people are more likely to be pulled over during the day. And this is over like 1 million traffic stops that they analyzed across all 50 states, right? Black people are more likely to be pulled over during the day and less likely to be pulled over at night. How do you explain that? And this is a 10-year study, over 1 million traffic stops. How do you explain these phenomena?
Well,
yeah, I think there's many
is,
factors. Like if you look at the crime rates,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
like sorry about that also, but like when you look at violent crime and stuff like that, when you see the numbers, you can, first of all, cops, they have to be on edge, man. If you lived,
what are we talking about? Crime rates? What are you talking about?
Yeah, like the CNN did a study where I think it said that black people did 54% of the firearm homicides.
No chance.
And there's different statistics, but
Yeah,
you
that's
can't
true.
just say, it's 100% racism, and you know that. I think anybody with common sense would know that.
So per capita, right? Per capita, white people commit 69% of violent crimes. Like per 100,000 people, white people are are 69 white people per 100,000 people. Sorry, I was wrong about the first one. Not 69%. But white people, you know what I'm saying, per 100,000, 69 white people per 100,000 commit violent crimes. Whereas black people is 65 per 100,000. So white people are committing the majority of violent crimes.
But
obviously,
keep in mind
because there's more hundreds of thousands of white people.
Yeah.
So
and so black people
of violent crimes are committed by white people.
So black people are a very, very small percentage, of people in the country.
I'm aware.
So when you have very high crime rates, then that's
but we don't.
It's not racist, it's just true.
But we don't have very high crime rates. We have very high arrest rates.
Right, but like if you're a cop in a neighborhood, right? And there's a history of maybe, I don't know, gang violence in that neighborhood, for example. You think a cop is not going to be...
You keep looking at the end result, and you're not looking at any of the issues
Jones,
that got us here.
I'm just saying that there's different factors other than just open racism. There's different factors. That's what I'm saying.
I wanted to comment too, because I've been kind of quiet too for a while.
Sure, go ahead.
So I'll say this. So I'm not saying that to say that bias doesn't exist.
Yeah, because he just said that they're literally targeting black communities. He just said it out his own mouth. That's prejudice. He literally just said
I'm not saying that they're targeting.
The cops are profiling.
You gotta let me finish. Hold on a second.
Go ahead.
So I'm not saying that if we were to sit here and say that bias doesn't play a role in the judicial system and the criminal justice, we would be fooling ourselves. Nobody's saying that here. Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying here is that there are many different factors to a lot of these different conversations. I would say that in some certain situations, you can make the argument that race does play a role. But what I'm saying is, it's not always necessarily always about race all the time. That's pretty much my argument.
Okay, but unless you can give me, Osa, some other scenario, then what you're saying means nothing. I can literally substantiate everything I say with data, and all you're saying is maybe it's not race, maybe it's something else, but you can't tell me what that something else is.
Okay, so
now
watch this here.
Can I finish, please? You just asked me not to. Back to what he was just saying. You're saying that if crime is high in this area, you know what I'm saying, then that's why the police are targeting that area, right? So you're saying that they're going in there with a bias already. But aside from that, we have to ask ourselves why, right? Why is crime worse in that area? What causes crime? Well, there's a direct line drawn between poverty and crime, right? A direct line between poverty and crime. Like we can draw a straight line between those two things. Well, why are these areas impoverished? Oh, okay. So they moved all of the jobs and manufacturing out of those areas. Oh, is that what happened? Oh, because they redlined people all into this area? Oh, because they don't, you know what I'm saying? The schools aren't well funded in this area? Oh, because, you know what I'm saying? Like this area is a food desert? You know what I'm saying? So if we know all of those things exist, then we need to be targeting the disease, right? And not the symptoms of said disease. We need to be targeting the disease. And
So can I
again,
respond to
that
that?
means, bro, why is it? Okay, go ahead, bro.
Oh, no, go ahead, finish. I just want to respond after. No, go ahead, finish.
You both asked me earlier why it is that people come from other countries, you know what I'm saying, and they're able to succeed here, right? So when we have people immigrating from other countries, right, in the legal manner, like they come here on visas or work visas or so on and so forth, student visas, so on and so forth, somebody has to sponsor that visa. And that somebody that has to sponsor that visa has to show that they have enough money, right, to cover that person if they lose their job or whatever. And then they have to prove that that person is going to live with them for X amount of time. And so when they're coming over by themselves or with their family or so on and so forth, right? Now they're having multi-generational homes or multi-family homes, and they're able to pool their resources and their money, right? And so once they leave that home, they have money saved up to buy another home, and then they sponsor somebody else to come over. We see this in Asian communities, whether it be Japanese, Chinese, or, you know what I'm saying, Indian. We see these in African communities, no matter where they come from in Africa. And we see this in a lot of Central and South American communities. If you go to any Central or South American home or Latin home, you'll see multiple generations of the same home, same family living in that house. And that's why they're able to succeed. Because they're pooling resources. They have more people to take care of the children, right? There's more hands-on with the children, so on and so forth. And so if the Black community hadn't been purposely, right, isolated amongst the rest of society, then we would be able to do the same thing. But they created zoning laws within the cities where most Black people live, where the largest concentration of Black people live, so that they were unable to do that. Said, oh, you can only have one family in this house. You can only build one property on this land, so on and so forth.
Okay, so yeah, let me respond to that. So again, I think there are a couple of issues that I'm having here because again, if you're talking about that, African Americans are oppressed or systemically held back, then you would have to give a reason why, okay, this group over here is held back here and this group is not. You have people who are successful within this country, and you have people that are not. Like, what would be the disparity? Why would you, or let me phrase it a different way. Why do you think that some African Americans are able to succeed here? If the argument is that they're being held back by systemic racism, what would you attribute
So
that
what you're
to?
talking about is exceptionalism, right? What you're talking about is exceptionalism. Yeah. So, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
if I happen to be like myself, if I happen to be exceptionally smart, just by pure happenstance, arbitrarily, I'm exceptionally smart. Then there's a good chance that I can do well for myself. If I happen to be exceptionally talented in a specific area, whether it be like math or science or whatever, or I'm an athlete or I'm an actor or I'm talented with a pen and I can write down words and make music, I can compose music, then there's a chance that I can get out. But not everybody is exceptional. Like, we can't judge an entire demographic of people on a few exceptional individuals. We can't do
Okay,
that.
so
That doesn't make
would
any
you?
sense.
So let me ask you this: Would you
Because the vast
classify
majority of
yourself
white
as?
people are going to die in the same or worse socioeconomic status they were born into.
Okay, so
The
let me
only
ask you
difference is
this.
they're not going to have any systemic barriers.
So let me ask you this: Would you consider yourself exceptional? Aren't you a EMT? Didn't you work as an EMT and a firefighter?
Yeah, I said like myself. I am very privileged. And I've said this a million times. I'm fair skinned. You know what I'm saying? I have green eyes. I'm very well educated. I happen to be exceptionally smart from the jump. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not every Black person.
But that's not because you worked hard, no? You
Huh?
worked hard to get to
No,
your
I didn't
position,
even have
right?
to work hard to do for most of the shit. I didn't even have to work
Really?
hard for it.
You didn't
Yeah,
work
not
hard?
I don't consider it hard. No.
I mean, I think it's pretty talented. You're EMT and a firefighter. That says something about you.
Sure, I did that shit for fun. Like, literally.
Well, I don't know. I would just say that, you're. I don't know. I think it's just setting the bar really low. I think that every black person is capable of doing anything that they put their minds to. If you were to tell me
That
like
sounds
60,
great.
70 years ago, yeah, if you were to tell me 60, 70 years ago that people were systemically held back, I would agree with you. I don't think it's the case anymore. Not to
It
say that
is.
racism is gone and disappeared. I don't think it's the case now.
Let me explain something to you, right? Let me
Sure.
explain this theory of the bootstraps to you, right? If I go, you know what I'm saying, and start a construction job, and it requires me to have steel-toed boots, and then the right way, you know what I'm saying, also starts on that same construction job, like straight out of high school, you know what I'm saying, because he didn't want to go to college or whatever, and he also has to buy some steel-toed boots. But the right way's parents, you know what I'm saying, have a little bit of money, so they buy him a $250, $275 pair of steel-toed boots. Right out the gate. And these boots are probably going to last him, 15, 20 years. And I buy a pair of steel-toe boots from Walmart, right? 3 or 4 months down the road, my steel-toe boots are going to be beat to shit, and I'm going to need a new pair of steel-toe boots. So now those $30 or $40 pair of boots that I bought at Walmart, you know what I'm saying, 3 or 4 months ago, well, now they're $45, $50, right? He still got his same boots. And then 3 or 4 months down the road again, I had to buy another pair of boots. But now they're you know what I'm saying, $55, $60, right? But he still has those same boots. Now, 3 or 4 months down the road, I got to buy another pair of boots. And now those boots are $65, $70. But he still has those same boots. It's expensive to fucking be poor, right? Because I can't buy good quality things. I don't have the same access to resources as he does. Right? And then there's systemic issues that have created those barriers. So you're asking people to pull themselves up by the bootstraps, right? Who don't have boots, or the boots are made out of fucking polyurethane, while everybody else is running around, you know what I'm saying, in high quality leather.
So let me get your opinion on this then. So we don't have access to information either. Do we have access to data and
No,
information?
you have to think about how many children don't have internet at home, that don't have internet at their school, that they have books that are 20 years old. So no, not everybody does have access to information.
I thought that around 97% of the United States population had access to internet, and the three that
what?
don't, yeah, around 90%, 95%.
No, there's tons of kids whose parents can't afford internet service.
Yeah.
And we just got rid of, our Congress just got rid of that plan that gave people access. I don't remember what it was called, but that plan that gave people access to internet. They just got rid of it. It just expired, I think, in April.
Yeah, the connectivity.
Yeah,
I
the
forgot what
connectivity
it's
program.
called.
Yeah, expired in April, and they refused to renew it. So think about how many people are going to lose access to information now.
No, but I'm saying everyone has a cell phone, right? So that's
No,
internet
not
right
everybody
there.
has a cell phone.
The vast majority doesn't have access to a cell phone.
Mr. Jones, if you don't mind me asking, where are you from?
Where am I from originally?
Like you could say the state. You don't have
I
to be
grew up. No, I
specific.
grew up in the DC metro area. I grew up in like Washington DC area during the crack era.
Did you hear what I think it was the governor of New York, what she said about black people and computers? Did you hear about that or no?
No, I don't.
I think she said that most black kids don't even know what a computer is. Would you agree with that, or do you think that's wild?
I mean, I don't know why that's relevant to the conversation that we're having, but I can look it up.
Well,
No,
we're
I
talking
know.
about we're talking about like access, right, to the internet and stuff. So
I just think that was a weird segue.
it wasn't.
I don't know
it
how
wasn't
that's
really a
relevant to the
segue.
conversation.
It wasn't a segue. I was just curious if you had heard that.
New York mayor, you said, or governor?
I think it was the governor.
Black kids in the Bronx. Oh, that's a white woman who said this.
Yeah.
Don't know what the word computer means during a large business conference in California. Right now, we have young black kids growing up in the Bronx who don't even know what the word computer is, and they don't know these things. She later clarified her statement, acknowledging that she misspoke. Her actual goal is to provide avenues for communities of colors to access emerging artificial intelligence technologies as a means to address social inequality. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why this white lady said this white lady shit. I don't like. What am
Well,
I? I don't know.
I don't know. I'll
Well,
say
Mr.
this.
Jones, like here's what I don't. Sorry, Osa, but here's what I don't get. Right, like Mr. Jones, I'm pretty sure you're a Democrat, right? Or
No.
no,
No, not nearly. No. I don't believe in government at all.
Well, I was just assuming since I mean I know you, number one you hate Trump, you're very pro LGBT. I mean, you sound like a
Yeah,
leftist to me, to be honest.
oh my God, I'm for people's human rights. That's crazy.
No, I'm just saying you come off
Wild
as
take.
so you don't vote Democrat?
No,
No,
Not
you don't vote
typically.
Democrat.
not typically. Obama, that was the only one ever.
So you vote? What do you vote? Independent, third party, like.
Most of the time, yeah. The only other person I ever voted for in the primaries was Bernie Sanders.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because what I'm trying to say is that I think Democrats have done a lot of damage to minority communities. Not even
Like
just
what?
black people, but I'm sorry.
Like what?
Yeah, like for example, just that comment alone that the governor of New York made. She thinks that black people don't know what computers are, and then you guys.
Shit what that lady said?
And then a lot of black people vote Democrat, and so they're voting against their own interest.
In what way?
And so,
In what way?
What do
Like,
you-
bro, you can't just say because that lady said gaffed on fucking, you know what I'm saying, at some speech like that. Like, in what way? Like, what? Give me some examples.
yes, dude, Joe
policies.
Biden, dude,
Yeah,
there's so many
policies.
Democrats that are
Yeah, the
racist.
policies that hurt black people. Give me some.
Sure.
Give me some policies.
Okay. Well, this isn't really a policy, but the way Democrats promote Planned Parenthood and abortions, right?
Yeah, there's nothing
I don't know
wrong
if
with
you, I don't know if you know the origins of Planned Parenthood, but it was
whatever you're
founded
about to
by
say
a
is probably
racist
wrong.
woman.
Nope.
No, it was founded by a racist woman, and also black women have abortion rates 5 times higher than white women. Okay,
So this is not.
If you
None
look
of
at
these things are true.
if
None
you
of the
look
things
at
you said so far are true.
Democratic cities, if you look at
None of the
Democratic
things you said
cities,
so far are true.
hold on, sir. So if you look at cities that have been run by Democrats for 50
Bro,
years
I
plus,
can only address one topic at a time. I only
okay.
address
All right,
one
fine.
topic at a time, my guy. Okay.
so do you know
We're talking about
Margaret Sanger?
Yes, I know Margaret Sanger. So here's the first thing. Margaret Sanger was a eugenicist, right? But she never said that she wanted black people to have abortions. She thought that black people should have access to birth control so they never got pregnant in the first place. Margaret Sanger did not believe in abortion. Not one single abortion was ever performed while Margaret Sanger was alive. She did not, right, think that anybody should be unalive. She simply wanted black women to have access to preventative measures, which would be birth control, simply. Now, in addition to that, I don't care if every single black baby ever was aborted until we fix the underlying issues as to why people don't want to have children: poverty, lack of access to health care, lack of access to to education, lack of access to housing, lack of access to, fresh fruits and vegetables, so on and so forth. Unless you fix the undergirding issues of why people don't want to have babies, don't talk to me about abortion problems.
Wait, hold on.
Address
No.
No, let me finish.
That makes no sense.
Let him
So
finish.
Mr. Jones.
No. Wait. Let him finish. I have to respond.
All right.
Address the disease. Address the disease. Don't address the symptoms. Now, white people quite literally have abortion at much higher rates. The difference is the only people that have to report these procedures are places that receive government funding, and that would be like places like Planned Parenthood. But white people get the vast majority of the abortions. They just don't have to report them because they can go to their own private doctor, you know what I'm saying, in order to get their abortion. Now go ahead.
Yeah, now let me respond to that. I think that last comment about how you said you don't care if every black woman got an abortion. I think that's wild. I think that's a very wild.
It's not
take
it's not my body. Why am I going to determine what they do with theirs?
Hold on. Well, I think it's a wild take because if you believe in systematic oppression and white supremacy, then what you're really doing is you're helping white supremacists out in the annihilation of black
Weak ass
children.
argument.
Yeah, you know what
It's
he
a
said?
very strong one.
He said
It's a strong argument. It's a
I was
strong
like, he
argument.
said he said she doesn't want to. He said she doesn't want to unalive black babies. She just doesn't want them to be born. Like, are you serious, bro?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
so this is
You're voting for the party that is for that, dude. You're literally voting for that party.
I'm not. I've already said I'm not. You don't know what you're talking about.
Hold on a second. Do you know that Margaret Sanger said that she wanted black babies to be weeded out like weeds? You know that.
Provide a source for that. Anyways,
yeah.
I'm gonna while you're pulling up the source,
I can
I'm
provide
gonna address
that.
what he just said.
Yeah.
While you provide the source, listen. I'm not going to advocate that women who don't want children under these circumstances have children. I'm not going to advocate that women, be forced to give birth to a child. I'm not going to advocate, that we bring more children in to a system that clearly isn't in favor of them thriving. Not just surviving, but thriving. I'm not going to advocate for that. That doesn't make any sense. Like, why would I say, hey, listen, force people to have babies so that our numbers go up and we can fight the same system that we've been fighting for hundreds of years? That doesn't make sense. Doesn't make no sense.
Well, yeah, because that's keeping the population under control, basically.
That's your opinion. That's not the facts. It's crazy how you can be on both sides of the same argument. Oh, black women have 4 or 5 kids and they're leeching off the system. Oh, black women are killing all their babies. Which one is it? Like, why don't we just leave black women alone and address the undergirding issues?
Well, that's the thing, Jones.
issue
So like me, I'm sorry about that also, but I'm Latino, right, as well. And I know that in Latino countries, they're very conservative, right? They're very conservative and religious. And they believe in family structure, the nuclear family. They believe in these kind of things, right? And so they're not pro-choice.
That's
I'm
not
sorry
true.
to tell you.
They don't believe in nuclear family.
Wait, I'm talking about in Latin countries. I'm not
Yeah,
talking
in
about
Latin
America,
culture,
right?
they don't believe in nuclear family. That's a lie.
You just said earlier that they have generations of people living in the same home.
Exactly.
They
That's not
do.
nuclear
They do
family.
care about.
Yeah, that's not a nuclear family. That's a multi-generational home. Nuclear family is one parent. I mean, 2 parents. You know what I'm saying? 2.5 kids. Single family home, white picket fence, so on and so forth. That's not what you're describing. Is not a nuclear family. Multi-generational homes or multi-familial homes is what.
Hold on. So first of all, you're telling a Latino how Latinos live, basically. Like that's like me telling you about yourself. You don't know how it is. You've never. I'm pretty sure you've never.
How are you gonna tell me
in a Latin country? So wait, hold on. So
how do you know what I've done?
Wait, hold on, Jones. So what I'm trying to prove to you is that the reason why they're putting these Planned Parenthoods in a lot of like more poor communities where there's a lot of minorities, and so that is why when you have like a lot of Latinas aborting, it's because of the Democrats and what they push.
No,
it's not
it's
because
not.
they really think
So-
like that.
so here's the thing.
Black
This
people
is the
have always
reason-
been conservative, Jones. Even since
That's
before the
not
Civil Rights
true.
Act, Black people have been conservative. The Democrats are the ones that are making you highly progressive and liberal and saying we don't need babies.
All right, let me respond.
It's the Democratic Party, bro.
Wrong. That's wrong. So let me tell you why it's wrong. Number one, the reason that they put Planned Parenthood in low-income communities is because those people are the ones who need access to health care. What Planned Parenthood barely does abortions. That's the least amount of what they actually do. They provide pap smears. They provide birth control. They provide mammograms. Like that's abortion is the least amount of what they do. And so they put them in these low-income communities, because that's where people need the most services. Also, do you think that they're going to allow zoning for a Planned Parenthood in a rich community? No, of course they wouldn't, because the rich people don't want theirs there. They want their abortions to be kept private. They don't want everybody to know that their 14-year-old daughter got knocked up by their high school boyfriend. Like they don't want that to get out, because then they'll be pariahs within society, right? Aside from that, right? When we're talking about, I mean, I don't want to tokenize my son, right? But like my son is Afro-Latin. My son is Afro-Latin. I have spent copious amounts of times in Latin countries. In addition to that, my partner is also Colombian.
Then you would agree with me.
And I studied, right, sociology, which is how societies operate. And this is how I learned about how societies operate, whether they be Latin societies, whether they be African societies, whether they've been American societies. I literally have a master's degree in sociology.
Jones, how can you be married to a Latina and not know that they're very conservative?
I didn't say
Okay,
no,
whatever.
That's not true.
How can you not know that they are very conservative in their countries? I mean, do you know that Mexico is like predominantly
I know that they're
Catholic?
very Christian. I know they're very Christian.
Yeah, they're Catholic, and so they do believe in the nuclear family, and they're very religious.
That's not
Do you think
multi-generational.
religious
Not a
people?
nuclear family.
I know. I'm not really talking about that anymore. I'm just saying,
Okay.
do you really think religious people are going to be pro-choice like that?
Sure.
Especially up to 9 months.
If they should be, if they actually read the Bible. Like if religious people actually read the Bible, then they would be. But aside from that, right? So let's talk about being religious and voting conservative, if you don't mind, right? So when you're talking about black people were historically conservative, no, they weren't. Black people were historically following the Republican Party because the Republican Party of that time were the progressives. And I can tell you how they were the progressives because they have outlines of what their party, platform was all about. So if you would like me to go over the platform of what black people were supporting, I'll be happy to do that, right?
They've always been progressive. They're still progressive. You know,
the conservative party is progressive. The
yes, you know why?
Party is progressive.
Democrats. Look, Jones. You know who keeps reminding you that you're a victim? Democrats. They're doing that.
I'm
it's not
not a
Republicans.
Democrat. I don't care.
I'm not saying you're a Democrat. I'm not saying you're a Democrat. I'm just saying that Democrats are doing this to the black community. That's all I'm saying.
No, they're not. No, they're not. I've never heard no Democrat politician get up there, you know what I'm saying, and tell black people what they are and aren't thinking or what they should and shouldn't think.
Really? Dude, Joe Biden said if you vote for Trump, you're not black. Are you kidding me?
I agree with
him. They do it all the time.
But that's not precisely what he said. But
you agree with him?
Absolutely.
So black people are a monolith? Is that what you think?
No, I think that, you know what I'm saying, if you're, as a black person, you are voting for a fascist, you know what I'm saying, then absolutely you're not a solid member of that community. I think that you are not for that community. I agree.
That's your opinion that it's your opinion that he's a fascist.
No, that's not my opinion.
First of all. Yeah, it is.
I can objectively quantify that.
Bro, that is wild.
Let's talk about being a Christian. Let's talk about being a Christian, right? Jesus specifically said in Matthew Matthew 21, he said that whatever you have not done for the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you have not done for me. He quite literally said that you're supposed to feed, you know what I'm saying, those who need food. You're supposed to house those who need houses. He said if they're a stranger, you're supposed to invite them in, you know, like immigration. If they're a stranger, you're supposed to invite them in. If they're sick or in prison, you're supposed to provide, you know what I'm saying, healthcare for those people who are sick and in prison. Like quite literally, Jesus said this out of his own mouth. He said the only way that you'll get into heaven is if you do these things. And for those of you who don't do these things, I will turn you away at the gates of heaven. He said, I will cast you into the lake of fire. Now, when we look at the Republican Party, are they advocating that more people have access to food? Nope. Are they inviting the stranger in? Nope. Are they making sure that everybody has housing? Nope. Are they making sure that everybody has clothes? Nope. You know what I'm saying? Are they taking care of the sick and in prison? Nope. So
are Democrats doing that?
I mean, they would like to if they could get the legislation passed through this by the conservatives who claim to be Christians in the Senate and House of Representatives.
Well, the Republicans, they do things for.
So can I ask
Sure.
you a question?
Yeah, go for it, man.
Do you think Christ would have been pro-choice, Mr. Jones?
But I probably, yeah, probably.
Ooh, I don't know about that one. I'm not sure.
I mean, the Bible says that if you think your wife is cheating on you, you can take her down to see the you know what I'm saying, the pastor, and the pastor could give her some dirt off the floor and some holy water and make her have a miscarriage. That sounds like an abortion to me.
So the scripture doesn't say thou shalt do no murder or unaliving. Should I say?
That's not murder. Murder is with somebody who's born. Like that's unaliving a person who's born. People who aren't born aren't alive.
I don't think it specifies in the Bible that you have to be born to be a human being. Like, life is life.
I mean, I guess, you know what I'm saying? Cancer literally is living. Should we not get rid of cancer? If life is life, should we stop eating animals? Should we stop eating plants? Should we stop eating altogether? Like, if life is life, then we should protect all life, right? Are queer people not life? Why aren't we protecting queer people? Like, you know what I'm saying? Are trans people not life? Like, why aren't we protecting them? Are the children who are actually alive, who 1 in 5 children go to bed without food every night? They're alive. Why aren't we doing something about them? What about the children who are dealing with housing insecurity? Why aren't we doing anything about them? Like, I mean, if you care about children, why aren't we making sure they have equitable education? Why aren't we making sure they have equitable access to healthcare? Why aren't we making sure they have equitable access to clean water?
Let's address that, right? So, like, with the education, Republicans are for choosing which school your kid goes to. When you talk about LGBT, what have Republicans done to stop LGBT from existing? The answer is nothing.
I'll
right?
answer both
Democrats,
Democrats
are the ones.
A couple of questions at a time. Sure.
Hold on, Jones.
So number one,
but you gave me a lot of things.
I can't, bro. I got the tism like shit. So I know I just answered the one thing you were talking about. So you can't say school, then the LGBT, and then another thing. There's no way in the world that I'm going to be able to keep track on that. So, I mean, I feel like you didn't address anything that I just said and pivoted to something else.
No, so how do you feel about school of choice then? We can talk
I think
about
that's a terrible idea. And let me explain why, right? So when you do school choice voucher programs, we have rich people that already have their children in these private schools or in these, you know what I'm saying, charter schools. So now those rich people who could already afford to put those kids in those schools are now getting a voucher to put their kids in those schools, right? And getting a bit of their money back or getting a discount for something they were already paying for.